to go over again these few sentences that we went through very fast at the end last time. The Dati, very, very useful, just took a few sentences here. Page
331.
331. Madregas Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom. Shenemer Olav, there was a Madrega, I want to read the words carefully. There was a Madrega of Moshe Rabbeinu. Even those words make me shudder. Madregas Moshe Rabbeinu, it's hard to even imagine. Madregas Moshe Rabbeinu Olav Shalom. Shenemer Olav, what was his Madrega? In a word, the Taiches, B'chol Beisi Nemanhu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Miriam, B'chol Beisi Nemanhu, how could you talk about Avdi Moshe, B'chol Beisi Ne'emanhu? He's a Ne'eman. He's a Ne'eman. The Pashat Pshat Ne'eman is somebody you can count on. He's always there. Right? Good friend. Ne'eman. A Ne'eman. I need something I know I can call Rabbi Eliezer. He's there. You're a Ne'eman. What does it mean to be a Ne'eman by a Kadosh Baruch Hu? So here, Tzadok offers a simpler shot, which is very, very deep. Now, what's a Ne'eman? Hashem called the Ne'eman of all the different adjectives. It's like you have a trusty butler in the house. He's the Ne'eman Habayis. Balabayis maminoy al kol shaloi. I trust him with everything. Ki yodeya shlo yikach shum davar b'loy reshus v'ritzayin habala. Taich of a Ne'eman, says Rabbi Tzadok, is somebody's not going to steal from you. So that's the first yesod. It's a new chiddush of the pshat and Ne'eman is somebody who's not going to steal from you. Now, valakicha lamala. So this begs the question: what does it mean to steal from Hashem? If the pshat and Ne'eman is that you're not going to take anything which is not yours, so what does it mean to be a Ne'eman? The whole Beisi Ne'eman. You see Rabbi Tzadok's the beauty of the nuance. The whole Beisi Ne'eman. It's not just that he's a Ne'eman. The whole Beisi Ne'eman. He's the Ne'eman Habayis. It's a different idea. It's not that he's a Ne'eman unto himself. The whole Beisi Ne'eman. He's in my bias, and I trust him in my bias. So the pshat of a Ne'eman is somebody who's not going to take something which is not theirs. What does it mean to take something which is not yours when you're talking about our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What are you going to take? Valakicha lamala. What does it mean to take something when it talks about Hashem? Hu ha'istaklos b'mufla mimenu. Lakicha lamala means that this is a new definition of Geneva, that you're taking something, you're looking at something b'mufla mimcha, which is not appropriate for you, it's beyond you. So Chiddush 1 is that you're a Ne'eman Moshe because I trust you, you don't take what's not yours. And what Chiddush 2 is, what is it called to take something which is not yours when you're talking about Hashem? Not to be mistakel b'mufla mimcha. Not to take something, not to see something, not to look at something which is beyond you.
Looks like you use the word mistakel in that word here.
Yeah.
Yosef HaTzadik.
What about it?
It's the same thing. I mean, he didn't look at something, didn't try and take something.
Okay. But it's harder to understand, easy to understand. So this is a form of like spiritual voyeurism.
Yeah.
I'm looking at something which is delusionally. Okay, which begs the question, the third part of it. What is it? What is mufla mimenu? All information is good. Everything's on the table. I could look at whatever I want to look at.
But
Right?
maybe Moshe thought this exact thing when he was offered to look at the snake.
Now we need the main thing. That what's called something which is beyond me. What am I looking at? HaKadosh Baruch Hu took Moshe Rabbeinu deep into his house, into his private room. V'gilu like Hol Gnozav, he showed us him everything. Nevertheless, so now you have a real Messiah. who hayanemon, but his nemonis was shalai nistakel el b'ma sheyada b'bir shiratzon Hashem yisbarach bakach l'toyelas hanagase v'harasa l'dayr. This is, we have Yisoid. Yisoid one is to be a nemon means you're not going to steal. To be a nemon by a Kadosh Baruch Hu means you're not going to look unless it's l'toyelas. And the Yisoidus is the what's called toelas, what's called something that you should look at and something that you shouldn't look at. So it depends. You have to ask yourself one question. Is it, look at these words, is it l'toyelas hanagase v'harase l'doyrei? I'm looking at something, I'm seeing something, I'm learning something. Is this l'toyelas for what? Toyelas of what? Hanagase v'harase l'doyrei, for Hashem's hanaga in this world and his ha'ara. Sveizach. His hanhagasai v'ha'arasai l'dayrei. Ulachol ha'dayrei ha'yadei. What's going to happen to Hashem's hanhaga ha'yadei? So let me explain. So this is it's migrative. That I can't try to look at something which is not mine, and what's called not mine, what's not mine, that it's b'mufla mimcha, and what's b'mufla mimcha, there's no toelas. Toelas what? No toelas ta'kadosh baruch hu. It's not that there's no toelas for me. I may become enriched by this. So that's called geneva. Is there toelas for me to steal this piece of jewelry from the store? Yes. Toelas. I'll have a piece of jewelry. I didn't have it before. I'll be richer. So of course there's a toelas. Is there a toelas lahan hagasai yisbarach? That's a different question. Is this a toelas for HaKadosh Baruch Hu v'ha'arasai? So this is a little bit of Kabbalah just to make it easier. The pshat is that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, so the yesh me'ayin that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, so the mashal that the Arizal brings, and the Eitz Chaim is or Pashat, Rasa Yisbarach, or Pashat, meaning that we don't understand what ayin means, but we can understand the beginning of the yesh. The beginning of the yesh is an or. This is the story that the Arizal tells us. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created an or, and the or is Memali Kolalman. It goes through all of the spheres. It goes through all the Olamai, so it goes through the Keser, the Chesed Gvur Tiveres, that's a Choy Yisayim Tovik to Malchus, which is into this world. It goes through the Olamais of Atzilus Bria Yitzira Asiya, and this is a Ha'ara. This is the word Ha'ara. So not to go over it fast, the word Ha'ara is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is trying to accomplish something over here in this world by making the world. And when it comes to, just an important Yisayim, that when it comes to the Keser, we have no Kesher. When it comes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Or, we really have no Kesher either. So you have, let's say, the world of Atzilus, Ein Lanu Kesher. That's what the Arizal says. We don't have a real musig in the world of Atzilus. Atzilus means Eitzel, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vayotzal es ruchai. It's not Nageya. What's Nageya really the world of Bria, which is the next step down on the conveyor belt. It's also not so Nageya. So when it starts coming to Yitzira and Asiya, this is already our department. So Hashemayim L'Hashem V'aretz Nasan L'Bnei Adam. So when the or starts to reach to come in for a landing in this world, so now it becomes the human endeavor to capture the or and say to continue the work of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in making this world. The Ramchal says, mentioned many times, that there's really no difference. The Ramchal says in Derech Hashem, there's really no difference between Bnei Adam, us, and Malachim, really the same thing, except for that Malachim ein lahem bechira chavshus, and Bnei Adam yesh lahem bechira chavshus. In a higher executive position, we can make some choices here. But the truth is, there's really no difference. No difference in what? We're all created, we, Gavriel, Michael, the other 290 Malachim, they're all created for one thing, to make HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Or be Memala Kalalman, to bring the Shechina B'Tachtainim. That's the whole thing, to make this Hashem Kodesh Baruch Hu Javadira B'Tachtainim. There is no other Toelas. Now, so when we talk about Toelas Hanhagasai V'Ha'arasai, now, what are you doing with the Or? To take the Or at any point and to snatch it for yourself is Geneva. to take it and to do our job as malachim she'esh la mechira chavshis, and to produce something in this world which is kvod Hashem, which is not already. This is already something we can understand. As much as we don't understand Atzilus, we're bekiyim in the world of Asiyah. We're experts in this. So if you're building a chayes, you're building a house, or you're building an Eretz Yisrael, or you're building a shul, or you're building a parnas, or whatever you're building a family, whatever you're building, like the kavanas hadvarim is, not that I'm trying to be successful, I'm trying to be successful in this world, I'm continuing hanhagasay v'ha'arasay of making a dira b'taftayim. And if that's the kavanah, good. If it's not the kavanah, don't do it. It's as simple as that. Don't do it. And if you do it, working backwards of the three yesodis of Rabbi Tzadok, then it's gezela. Even if it's spiritual. So you see people who are very spiritual, like a big makubal, very, very spiritual. If there's no toelos, then it's not spiritual. See, this is the pshat in two things I just want to say. The Gemara says in Brachos, Lamed Hey, I believe, Lamed Aleph, the Gemara says that Asher la'anis b'neilam hazeh b'loi bracha. Not allowed to have enough from anything in this world b'loi bracha, not just food, anything. Asher la'anis b'neilam hazeh b'loi bracha. So if the Tosefta there are brachas, I just had this. I saw once. It's like when you get married. So you're building a house. There has to be berachos kedusha, berachos nisuyin. There's asher la'anis b'neilam hazeh b'loi bracha. And anybody who's nena min olam hazeh b'loi bracha. So the Gemara says ki'ilu. Anybody remember what's the lashon? Ki'ilu mal. Ki'ilu mal. V'nena mikach shemayim. Ki'ilu mal v'nena mikach shemayim. So what's the pshat in me'ilah? Right? What's me'ilah? That you're taking something which is meant for one purpose. Yeah, it's made for kodesh, and you're using it for chol. That's what me'ilah means. So you're taking personal hana. So think about it. Think about how Yesodistic this Gemara is. Kol hanena min olam hazeh b'loi bracha ki'ilu mal v'nena mikach shemayim, which sounds like the same thing redundant, but we could explain it. But the point is, you're taking something holy, meaning it has a holy purpose. And you're being moel in it, you're taking it farzif, you're putting your hand on the pushka. So that's me'ilah and nena mikach shemayim. Ikadamri, says the Gemara, kol hanena min olam hazeh b'loi bracha, kilu goizel me'akadosh baruch hu u'miknesses Yisrael. I believe that's lashon hashuvah. Trust me. Kilu goizel me'akadosh baruch hu u'miknesses Yisrael. Not goizel, knesses Yisrael. So that's an ikadamri. So what's the difference between the first mandomer and the second mandomer? What's me'ilah if you're not being goizel me'ah kadosh baruch hu miknesses Yisrael? So what's the ikadamri here? What do you say, Rav Nachman? It's ikadamri. It's a pellet like usually an ikadamri is a different pshat. Ikadamri. The pshat ikadamri is some people say it like this. Could be kibat the same thing, but it's maybe a different way of seeing the same thing. Are you looking from labala or are you looking from labata? So there's
that the me'ilah by definition is b'shogeg, and gozel not by definition, but gozel is typically amazing.
Me'ilah could be amazing. Me'ilah could be amazing.
Yeah.
What that is? If you're moil b'amazing, what's it called?
You're just not chayav korban.
Different story. The korban is a different story. You're certainly boil. So it means to say like this. It means to say two things. There's an intended purpose of everything that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is creating. Now the question is, Hashemayim, as the Gemara says, Hashemayim Shemayim L'Hashem. It's God's business. It's God's business. There's an intent. Now you're coming in with your missile here, and you're taking that which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's coming down for a landing, and you're intercepting it. That's what me'ilah is. There's an intended purpose. I'm intercepting. I'm interrupting HaKadosh Baruch Hu's plan here for this thing. How am I misaking it? Make a bracha. if you make a bracha, so now what you're taking is that which HaKadosh Baruch Hu is creating, which is Gashmius, Yesh Mi'ayin, and you're using it for its intended purpose, which is to be Marbek Kvod Hashem in this world. So a bracha like Al Derech, the Nefesh HaChaim, a bracha is the pshat that I'm creating well springs, brecha, mayonos. I'm making the world a holier place, making the world a better place. That's me'ilah. Then you see, as this piece of yesh mi'ayin, this ha'ara, is going into this world, it reaches into the place of Yitzira Asiya, reaches into our department already, right? So now it becomes the world's job of catching the ha'ara of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and using it for Kvod Hashem. That's different. It's the same thing, but it's different because this is in the world as HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What are you taking it for? And now we have a different issue. This is ours to take and do something with, and you're taking it and doing something with yourself. So one, you're interrupting, if you will, the Yisarusa de Leila, and the other, you're interrupting the Yisarusa de Lasata. That's Goizel me HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Miknesses Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael has a job here to do. See, Knesset Yisrael is not Klal Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael was... It's Knesset Yisrael. Knesset Yisrael. Ironically, Knesset means when everybody's together. Something ironic from an Israeli political point of view. Knesset, everyone thought means argument. That's what. Not argument.
It's closer.
Of course, it's closer, but there's a different thing because, if you'll allow me, that in the before HaKadosh Baruch Hu creates something, it's echad. Everything's echad. There's only one thing. It's not even yachid, because yachid means it's already two things you're bringing together. Echad ha'pashut, or ha'pashut, echad ha'pashut. And as things become created, it goes into what the Mekubalim call the alma de piruta, bursts into pieces. That's to you and to me and to Jews and to goyim and to tables and to chairs. Everything. Alma de piruta. That's why when you get married, you got to find your other half. Alma de piruta. That's why Klal Yisrael has to be ma'achid at some point, because you have to find the pieces. It's like a puzzle, all the pieces of Klal Yisrael. So you create kehillah, and the kehillah has to create a number of kehillas. If necessary, Mashiach comes, the whole world becomes one. So what you're doing really is you're taking the echad ha'pashut that exploded into a gazillion pieces, and now you're bringing it together and making it into echad again. So there's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's echad, there's our echad. That creating that echad is called Knesset Yisrael. That's not called Klal Yisrael. Klal Yisrael is still out there. But Knesset Yisrael is when everything's nichnas l'toich kli echad. I'm just quoting you the Arizal. I'm not saying any fidushim. So Knesset Yisrael is when you're bringing it all together, tying it all up. Bring it all together. Can you bring it all together? Reb Nachman's reminding me now, because when I went to Australia many years ago, so I said, what's my job? I kept asking, what's my job? What do you want me to do? What's my job? What's my job? So everybody said to me the same thing. I remember this lesson. You just bring it all together. Bring what all together? What am I bringing all together? I guess it was true, because there's this shear, there's that shear, there's this thing, there's that thing, like all kinds of stuff was happening. There's a new job. Like it was like the cowboy, with the rope. Just bring it all together. Which I don't know if I did or I didn't, but that was the new job description. This is the job description of Klal Yisrael is to make Knesset Yisrael. What happens when somebody goes ahead and is nenem bracha goizel Knesset Yisrael? You're rooting the whole Knesset. The whole Knesset of Knesset Yisrael. So again, let's just do a quick chazara. The three yesodus is that Neman is the pshat, the one who doesn't steal. Stealing is the pshat, the one who doesn't look. And looking is or I should say, peek, one who doesn't peek. And peeking is the pshat that you're taking something for yourself, which has no toelas tle han hagasoy v'ha'arasay yisbarach. It has no kesher to the intended plan. And in that gufa, you see two mandamrim in the Gemara, whether you're being ma'al, sarusa de leila, or whether you're being Goizel me'akadosh baruch hu miknas. It's not yours, b'chlal. It's not yours. Why are you touching it? So it's two sides of meila, but one's klapi malu and one's klapi matu. You with me on this? So that's what you see. You see the yisoid is repeated again, and I think this is a very good mashal. The Chazal say that in the time of the Chorban Beis, after the Chorban Beis, the time of the Hadrian decree, time of Rabbi Akiva, after the Shnas HaShmad, where it was worse. It was worse, Chazal say, than the time of the Chorban Beis Hamikdash. More people died, more gzeros, more difficulties for Klal Yisrael during the time of Hadrian after the Chorban Beis Hamikdash. The Tkuf of Bar Kokhba, the Tkuf of Harugei Beitar. It was worse post, because it was a world without a Beis Hamikdash. It was a world without the Shekhinah, and everybody wanted to understand why. So the famous story is that Arba Nichnasu Lepardes. Rabbi Akiva called a meeting. Okay, let's understand why. Let's try to understand why. So just before we farish that, this is the Rishonim say already. Arba Nichnasu Lepardes. Whether they went kabbalistically or they went magically, whatever. Rashi, Tosfos, however you want to understand it, they wanted to understand why. Now, where's the precedent for wanting to understand why? The precedent is Moshe Rabbeinu, who stood on Har Sinai, and he said, "Lama yesh tzadik v'toiv lo, hareini nos kvodecha." Says Chazal, what's the pshat? Hareini nos kvodecha. What do you want to see? Lama yesh tzadik v'raloi. Why are tzaddikim suffering the way they are? Kadosh Baruch Hu told him, "Lo yirani ha'adam uchai." Okay, but this is what kind of answer is that? Lo yirani ha'adam uchai. You will never know why tzaddikim suffer. That's what Hashem said to Moshe. Now, whoever you are, you'll never know. Yeah, Rizal will never know. Nobody will ever know, because you could have known at the snap, but you don't. Now you can't know. Nobody can know. Why did he want to know? What's the toelis? What's the toelis? Because maybe we can do something that maybe we could improve our meisim, maybe we can do something very, very deep that can stop the mitzias of Tzadik V'Ralei. L'chayr, that was, so Moshe Rabbeinu's endeavor here was, Hareini Nos Kodecha, let me understand it a little bit, let me get under the hood, because if I understand it a little bit, so then I can maybe bibisak it over here, something. So that part is okay, but the full Gilui is not necessary for you. It's not compelling. The full Gilui is not compelling at this point to understand Tzadik V'Ralei. Comes Rabbi Akiva, the Gilgul of Moshe Rabbeinu. Comes Rabbi Akiva, and he's Arba Nichnasu Lepardes. Let's understand the suffering of Tzaddikim, the Asara Harugei Malchus, the suffering and the killing of hundreds of thousands of people, the Galus Yisrael, where we're most of Klal Yisrael. I just read this in the Medrash Eicha, particularly about Tisha B'Av. That Roiv Yisrael Nimkarim La'avodim. Just like I never. Could you imagine Loya Leinu? I mean, that if Roiv Yisrael would be Nimkarim La'avodim to Goyim, we'd be working in Goyim houses and being whipped and battered. And can you imagine such a thing? Like Loya Leinu. So the Holocaust. It's a Holocaust. That's what it was. Right? Roiv Yisrael, Nimkarim La'avodim. So Rabbi Akiva said, let's try to take a look. Now, here's what's interesting. Again, L'Didon. We don't know what happened in that meeting, in that holy chabura of Rabbi Akiva. What we do know is this: that Ben Azai hitzitz v'meis. Ben Zoyma hitzitz v'nifka. Acher hitzitz v'kitzitz b'nentzoi, but kitzitz. V'netios. What were hitzitz? What were they? what were they peaking? What were they? Spiritual voyeurism. Tzaddikim Ben Azai was a tzaddik. Right? Haroya Ben Azai b'chalom yitzba l'chasidus. He was a chassid. Soid Hashem lireya Ben Azai. you're Shemayim. But what was the hitzitz? What was the hatzotza? What was he trying to see? He was trying to see. He was working with Moshe Rabbeinu's kasha. Lama yesh tzadik v'raloi. That was the purpose of the meeting, anyways. Lama yesh tzadik v'raloi. So what was he trying to see? I want to know the ikar, the inside workings. I want to know what's really going on a very, very high place in this world. That's what I want to know. You don't want to know. You're not asking the real question. The right question to ask is, what can we do? L'tayeles hanhagasai v'ha'arasai. Voskem and Bessermach. That would have been the right thing to do. But hitzitz is, I just have this spiritual curiosity to understand. So there was, Chazal seemed to say there was a certain, on their madrega, a certain take for yourself over here. Ben Zoyma hitzitz v'nifka. Ben Azai died from this. No. Because, why did he die? Would have to die. Okay. The pshat in dying is that ein bein malachi asheris l'bnei adam elo l'malachi asheris ein b'chira chavshus. You have a b'chira chavshus, you're a malach. If you're a malach, Freknish does feel cautious of what's going on in the higher worlds. Your job is to do. You're a malach, Ben Azai. And he was a malach. It's a mace. Ben Zoyma was given a gift of chachma. Aroya ben Zoyma b'chalayim yitzma l'chachma. The Gemara doesn't end the brachas. Ben Zoyma was the chacham. He was the smartest guy in the generation. Einstein. Lamalo, Rogachow. He was the smartest guy in the generation. That's what the Gemara says. He was smarter than Rabbi Akiva. He was so smart, but it was Ben Zoyma. But he was young. They were young. They were not musmachim. They didn't get shimush talmidei chacham. So hitzitz v'nifka got him where he was holding. So Ben Azai was the chassid that was looking for some kind of an experience and understanding what's going on. Mace. Ben Zoyma was looking for some type of insight, wisdom. V'nifka, and he stayed nifka for the rest of his life. The Gemara says a couple of pages later. The Gemara says that they saw Ben Zoyma being mistoiv on the Har HaBayis, and they said, "Adayin Ben Zoyma b'chutz." So he's out of it. This was from this experience. So again, Rabbi Akiva nichnas b'shalom v'yotz b'shalom. Worst one was Acher. Now the Gemara describes this. What did he see? He saw the Metatron. He went. He was hitzitz. The hitzitz was to see the workings of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, which we can't possibly understand, and they all came to the conclusion that there must be, there's different Rishuyas, Shtei Rishuyas, but Elisha ben Avuya, Mamish became a Shtei Rishuyas, he became a Christian. Mamish Shtei Rishuyas. Mamish Shtei Rishuyas. Tatra, this and that. So the Gemara has a whole beautiful story over there about how Kadosh Baruch Hu gave him a Tatra and Patch. What are you doing? I told you don't sit in my chair when people are around. The Gemara says, okay, so go try to understand go to try to understand what they couldn't understand. It's not possible, but we got to understand the story, the words we could understand. The point is there were hitzits. The point I'm making is hitzits, spiritual voyeurism that Moshe Rabbeinu did not want to look b'muflam. See, it's more meduyak. The Rabbi Akiva, when he sat with these gedolei olam, and they were all gedolei olam at the time. But when he sat with these Gedolei Olam, he gave them instructions and guidance. I will be your guide today on this Knisa LaPardes. And when you go into the Pardes, Kishitagia La'avnei Hashayish, when you're going to come to the marble wall stones, Al Toimar Mayim. So we say, like, you're standing on the diving board, and you're about to dive, and it looks like water. No, it's Avnei Shayish. Boom. So Rabbi Akiva said, be careful. What's the touch? Don't say, you're coming to Avnei Shayish, don't say Mayim. Don't say Mayim. Avnei Shayish means you don't go any further than this. This is as far, I'm not saying Pashut Pshat, I don't understand deep Pshat, I'm just saying Pashut Pshat. Avnei Shayish means when to Shagil Avnei Shayish, what's the right thing to do? Stop. Avnei Shayish. Al Toimer Mayim. It doesn't mean, I don't think that, well, it looks like water. I mean, maybe we can get through this. Maybe we can go further. Mayim is the Mayim El Yoinim and the Mayim Tachtoinim. So says the Zohar Pshat in this story. There's the mayim elyon and the mayim tachtonim. What is mavdil ben mayim lemayim? It says in Bereshit. Mavdil ben mayim lemayim means that there's the shamayim l'Hashem v'aretz nosam l'bnei adam. This is your department. This is his department. So al toymar, don't say, look, this is the edge. We're on the edge here. We're on the cusp. Mayim. All that we're seeing over here is we can glimpse a little bit, peek a little bit into a higher world. Al toymar. What are we going to say? It's a mayim. Okay, this is our mayim. This is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Vayavdil ben mayim l'mayim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a havdil between the mayim elyon and mayim tachton. Rashi. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made this havdil ben mayim elyon and mayim tachton. I'll go a little bit further. Avnei shayush. This is a brick wall. This is a marble wall. This is something that you don't go further. Well, so what's the? So you have here what is he saying? That you have to make always the distinction. We have to know our job. We have to know our job. Moshe Rabbeinu, this was his godless. He understood his job. His job was not to become a makubal. His job was not to, like, his curiosity didn't take him over the Avnei Hashayish. So when HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to be Megala, the whole thing to him, he says, Lama. Like, I'm not needing to see exactly. Right now, I'm not reading to see exactly, I'm not right to see exactly. I don't see what the Toelis is in me doing this, and me seeing more. But mufla mimcha.
So did Rabbi Akiva get an answer to his question? Did Rabbi Akiva get an answer to his question about that?
I have no idea.
It's kind of funny because
That's a b'shalom.
Yeah, right.
He
So
was
he
b'shalom.
wasn't nifka. That's
It was
clear.
Yatza b'shalom.
but-
No, not he wasn't nifka. It was Yatza b'shalom. Yeah.
He was a piece of
It was a peace. It was a peace with dying even. The Seder, that's my. I'm not, like a peace with it, but I mean, he was a peace with. Okay. What's the difference if the tachlis of my life is to live, I'll live. The tachlis of my life is to die, I'll die. It's just a question of what's l'toyelas hanhagasei v'ha'arasei. You see, I'm putting forth a yisoid, which I don't know if I'm a royal cast to put forth this yisoid, but I just want to do it anyway. Live with it. that a person has a big decision to make. I'm not talking about necessarily like, should I go to the Kabbalah Center? Should I learn things which are not? What is that type of? To go to the Kabbalah Center? It's all selfish. It's all selfish because it's all about how can I, like they think anyways. That it's all about like how can I manipulate the world by knowing the inner workings. Even the I don't criticize anybody, but the whole Kabbalah Ma'asi, which in our world, our Messiah is, we don't go that direction. Why? What's the direction? Somebody's sick, make him better. Like, why don't we go that direction? Because that's not what it's for. Yesodistic words are that mi'ila. It has to be. I remember I called, all of a sudden I called Mr. Wolfson once, and I asked him to help out a school in Muncie. So he said, "Why should I help the school in Muncie?" So I said, "Because you're the biggest Baal Tzedakah in the world." So he said, "This is a good case. Here's a school in Muncie that's about to close." So he said, "I don't do schools. I do care of organizations." And this gave me a whole speech. So I said, "So make an exception and help the school in Muncie." So this language always stuck in my mind. He says, "That's not what the money's for." And I'm thinking to myself, "It's your money. You can do whatever you want with it." You want to know something about this guy? It wasn't his money. He it was so pushing to me that he didn't even know what I was talking about. It's like taking money, which was miyuad to one thing, and stealing it out of there and putting it into. It's not what the money's for. He's telling you. And then he gave me, by the way, $20,000. So I guess he had some kind of a slush fund or something. But the nekuda is like such a deep nekuda that this is the yisoid that I'm trying to eke out over here. That like there's only one thing to think about before I go into any endeavor, even if it's a learning endeavor. Which can only be good, right? No, I'll tell you, mayim. It's not necessarily my. Sometimes you're going someplace. Maybe you do have the intellectual capacity to understand it. Ben Zoyma didn't, and Azai didn't. Maybe yeah. But the point is that it's not your department, B'chlal Hashemayim. Your department is in the world of Yitzira and Asiya. Take what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving you, ha'arasai, and make a bracha. That's your purpose. If that's not what you're doing, this is not what you're doing. It doesn't, by the way, mean that we should be simpletons in any way. That's pretty good. But make the bracha. Take what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing it and use it for mashim miyuad loy. Help it reach its goal because you're a malach. Because you're a malach. So that's the three principles here of Rabbi Tzadok that he's putting forth in the thinking of Moshe Rabbeinu in not wanting to look at the gilui of the sneh because it was all part of the whole Beisi Ne'eman. I'm a Ne'eman. I'm not going to put my hand on it. It's not what it's for. I can take the gilui, but that's not what it's for. That's it.
This ne'emanos, what I can hear you're trying to say is that it's saying that we should incorporate. The Lashon uses the doros, the whole doros.
If it's toelos, at least for a future generation.
But is that something that we should be? That should be the barometer in terms of.
I think this is the barometer. I think it works. Meaning,
but not the whole doros.
look, there's nobody here in the room that didn't have to make big decisions and constantly, right? So you're looking at like this. Is it three things, right? Number one, is it l'toyelas hanhagasai? Am I helping Hashem out with this thing here and making a dear l'tachtayim? What are we helping out Hashem? What does he need my help for? Yeah, because just like he has malachim, he has people. Is it laha'arasai? Is it part of bringing the or pasha to a place? You know how it works. The Aries also so beautifully that or is invisible. You don't see or until it reflects on something. Abbas? Science bears it out. But you don't see or. You only see what the light reflects on. If you would be in a black hole, you would see no light. Am I right, Moshe? You can't see light.
If it shines directly on
Look
you.
at the source.
You have a light
What?
If
source.
it shines directly on you.
You have a light source.
Because it's reflecting.
No, it's
You can look at the
see by
source.
You don't see light unless it reflects on something.
You don't see light until it excites an electron in your eye, and
Seder.
the electron.
Seder.
You have a receptor in the eye. You have the retina.
The Seder.
It's stimulated by the light.
Reflector.
Right.
Seder.
There's a little bit of you.
Yeah, but why? If you don't have an eye, you don't see it. In other words, you have to
You
have.
have to have the eye.
No, I think you don't have to have an eye to see. You have to have an eye to reflect the light.
He's right. You don't see the radiation itself. You see what the radiation does to you. You only secrets of what it does to your body.
Sure. It has to be l'toyelos.
You see-
I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but it sounds like it's true. But the point is that the or pashut of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is only helping out the or is creating something to be makabel the or. If there's nothing being makabel the or, so here's my practical thinking matter, right? So this is what you'd like, right? You're helping people make decisions. So here's what you have to do. Is it l'toyelas hanhagasai? Is it l'toyelas ha'arasai? Am I reflecting the Ratzon Hashem? Lanu ulachol hadoros. If it's not going to work for me, is it going to work for my children, my grandchildren? How is this going to look in 100 years? What I'm doing right now? Yeah, but we're not talking about necessarily, opening a kollel. We're talking about opening, a business, making a family, a shidduch. How does this look? What am I doing here with this shidduch? What am I doing here? It's such a. I think it's something we're all capable of. Here's the checklist. It's such an important checklist. Now here's the chiddush, and in this checklist, Moshe Rabbeinu messed up. Made a mistake. Because Moshe Rabbeinu says like this. And let's go a little further. Yisrael Shaboy Seidar. Okay, now here's Moshe. Here's Moshe Rabbeinu standing at the sneh. I don't see I'm going down my list over here. I don't see that I'm being mashlim anything by taking the gilui you're going to get me, because I don't see that I'm being mashlim your or your anhaga, and I don't see that there's anything that's going on for Deiris over here. What am I going to get? Like it's like I'm like Ben Azai, I'm like Ben Zayma. I don't want to be like Acher. I don't want to be like Nadav Aviyu. I don't want to go there. So what am I doing over here? Why did he think he's not doing anything? Because Klal Yisrael was so messed up. That's why I thought he's not doing anything. The Yisrael Shabbai Seidar Hayu B'Tachlis Hashikua. Can't get any lower. What do you say? Mem Tesh Shari Tuma. It's only 50. It's only 50. I mean, so they went down 49. Like this is Tachlis Hashikua. Something whether Moshe Rabbeinu, I mean, for me, this is mashma he didn't. It's something that Moshe Rabbeinu recognized that there was a 50th, that there was any lower to go, because they were messed up in everything. Kamar Shadarshu, Chazal say, Moshe Rabbeinu was telling over the story of Yetzias Mitzrayim. He says, "V'lokach goy mikerev goy." Took one guy out of another guy. That's a bunch of goyim. Halalu oivdei avodah zarah. Halalu oivdei avodah zarah. It is complete. You see, everybody says, I just want to say, Sugrayim. Everybody says, Klal Yisrael Mitzrayim. Lashinos levusham, lashinos l'shaynam. Shema, those are the three things. So they dress Jewish, and they Jewish names, Shmerel, Beryl, Bible, Jewish names. Or Jewish name was, I don't know what Jewish name was. They talk Jewish, right? So what are we talking about? Like, they spoke Yiddish and they dress like Jews. I always think of it like this. I always think that, like, it just reminds me when I was a kid. Like the old Jews, that they dress like Jews, like yellow pants and blue jackets that clashed. And they talk Yiddish, and they're always talking like they're calling everybody like Shmuel, so. But they weren't from Jews really. So the pshat. So we always think of these three things like whoa, they were like. This is the lowest madrega you can get. The lowest madrega that you can get is that libam bal imam. That is completely chitzoni. The most superficial thing you can do is loishinu es l'shoinam levusham and shmam. That's the most superficial thing to do. There's nothing deep about that. So you're dressing. You're wearing this jacket. You're wearing that jacket. You're wearing this hat. You're wearing that hat. It's complete klipa. It's complete klipa. It's a good thing, a klipa, if you have the inside and it's growing out. That makes sense. But just complete klipa. So Moshe Rabbeinu also saw probably shlashinos l'shoinam. But what is that? That's nothing if there's nothing there. There would be oived avodah zarah. So here you have the hats, the jackets, all the different things, the Yiddish. But they're big halal oived avodah zarah, halal oived avodah zarah. So Moshe Rabbeinu looked at them and said, they're not real people. There's shikua. So I just want to put the Mem Tesh Shari Tuma. They went down. The only thing they didn't leave was these three things. That's the Shar Hanun. The Shar Hanun was that if they would have let go of this last thing, this last chitzonius thing, Jewish culture, the Yiddish theater. If they would have let go of that
bagels and lox.
Lox and bagels. Where I come from. So what was the toes here? He saw, Yafira, he saw. So here's the chap. The chap is Lainikalu elu b'shvil ha'amuna. So here's the chap, that even that chitzoni madrega was a raya to some type of emuna, which was very, very deep inside, with a whole lot missing in between. So and it's emes. So yeah, okay. So I'm more good about a zara, and I'm doing all these kind of things. But the fact is that you see this last piece of chitzonius. they have this expression. Everybody knows the expression that, like, of bageling somebody. You know what it means to bagel somebody? It means like if you're filling up with gas someplace in Arkansas, and there happens to be a Jew somewhere around, he's going to say, "Oh, it's hot," because he wants you to know that he's Jewish. Gewalt is it hot? Shalom. Why are they doing this? So that phenomenon is called bageling somebody. Like, I need you to know I'm Jewish. It's mamash a holy thing. It's a davar shebekdusha. It's kedusha gebura, because what's happening is that this completely secular person sees a from a yid, and he needs to express something very deep and very pnimi. So what is he doing? He's not saying, "Oh, Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokecha." He's saying, "Gewalt, it's hot outside." The Pentaliyid. So it comes out that unbelievable. You want a bagel? So that unbelievable chitzonius. It's so chitzoni. You can laugh at it. And Moshe Rabbeinu seemed to laugh. It doesn't realize that this is a simon of emunah. And that loishinu eshmam, loishinu es l'shaynam, was a simon of emunah, which is on the deepest level, with everything missing in between. No locks in this bagel. Nothing. There was no locks in this bagel. There was nothing there. But so that was like nigalu ela b'shvil amunah shezeu sherish kailul kol terakula. So you see, it works like this. And needless to say that you can have all the trappings, and you could be a completely accessorized Jew, but if you don't have that pneumius, so you're like a well-dressed mannequin in a store window. I wish I looked like that guy. But he's all dressed up with nowhere to go because he's not a person. So better is to have a not so well dressed up person. Now I have a heart that beats, and a lung that breathes, and a brain that thinks, and something that feels. I have emotions. I have a neshama. I'm at least a person. I'm not made out of plastic. Yeah? So now accessorize. Now it makes sense to get some good clothes. But to have all the chitzonius without that sort of person is worthless. To have the person without all the chitzonius, that's tzaddik b'emunasai yichya. You can live on that. You can live on that, and that will come out in the Shar Hanun. Moshe Isa bo chavakuk mehamidon al achas tzaddik b'emunasai yichya. Shal yedei zeh levad hu davuk b'chai olamim. It's like underlinable words, no? Shal yedei zeh levad hu davuk b'chai olamim b'yichya chayei ad afilu shakua b'makom sheshakua. I was listening late last night. I couldn't sleep. I was listening late last night to a interview of Lapid. We don't like him. Let's put us in the army and everything went on. So the interviewer is saying to what you attribute the success of the interviewer, Tuchilonim, right? The interviewer says, "Sharla Gitch is a ness." Sharla Gitch is a ness. It was borrowed to be that if these bombs would be dropping in any other country, there would be thousands of people that would be dead already, like thousands. So he said, well, there's three things. Three things. There's the Iron Dome, and we have this technology which is just amazing, and the Iron Dome. And then there's our very, very strategic army, which is taking out terrorists and missiles from Gaza. That's point 2. And then point 3, the tremendous cooperation of the Israeli people, that every time there's a siren, they're running into shelters, and the 3-point plan. Then he says, Nes zelo chinuch sheli. It was like a zelo chinuch sheli, like such an amazing, I'm just saying, like it's not my chinuch to say that it's a nest, but okay,
But he didn't say it wasn't. He said it wasn't.
No, he didn't say it wasn't at all. It is a nest. it's an undeniable ness. But when we talk about missiles. It's all time ness. So I'm listening to this, I'm thinking to myself, this is not mutually exclusive. That's the ness. You know what it is to get 7 million Jews to do the same thing and run into a shelter? It was a nest go to Mizu, to the same shelter with my neighbor. I'm going to sit there yet. I got to talk to this guy. It's unbelievable nest. It isn't a nest. I'm just saying the Pashan Zacha. Is it a nest that what is it? All these people in the Tzava, Hashem should be Mevarach them, that they're fighting. Most of their grandfathers, if not all of their grandfathers, were either from countries that they didn't know what running water looked like, or they're from Holocaust survivors that came to this country emaciated, and they're dealing with the kind of technology and weaponry and bravado and gevura. It's not ness. I mean, it's gufa ness. I mean, how much more of it? I mean, I think to me that's more of a ness than if the missile misses. That's a ness. I mean, what's been happening here is like the deepest type of nissim. So like on all three levels that he's talking about, it's absolute ness. The technology is a ness. But where do we come to this? Where do we come to this? Enough that we're breathing and we're so traumatized. Went through a Holocaust. I mean, I almost saw a Holocaust. You don't have to be that old. I'm talking about ancient history. A couple of years before I was born, it was a Holocaust. We're not talking about everybody I grew up with in shul. Their father went through a Holocaust. So where were they holding by iron domes and by we'll take them out. Militia, commandos. Or commandos. It's a nes nigla. So nes zelo chinuch shalanu. Okay, it's not your chinuch. So there's a klipa there. But this is what Moshe Rabbeinu. I'm only saying that. I'm speaking from my heart. We shouldn't make the same mistake that he's teaching us not to make the mistake. And the mistake is by saying that is forgetting that tzaddik b'emunasa yichya, that yesh b'zeh mashu, and there is something there, and that is why we're being saved, and that is why at this point we can have l'dati the biggest gilui possible, because there's an unbelievable energy of Klal Yisrael behind us. It's there. It's a Metzius is there. It came out in the last few weeks here in Eretz Yisrael that it's there. When you scratch and choose, there's some amunah there, and that amunah is the amunah that we're talking about. Thank you very much.
Good.